the shelves and keep it all going and happening as we go, and just have it a continuing situation. It's treat it like a fire drill.
Yeah, prepping on the homestead and voluntary lockdown.
Or like an SHTF simulation.
Or is it?
Today, we're going to share 3 essentials to help you get started on your prepping journey right here on Cabin Life. Hi folks, I'm Glenn.
I'm Maureen.
And today we've got 3 important things to share with you about your long-term food preparation.
We're at day 43 of our voluntary lockdown challenge. That's about 7 weeks, and so far it's going really good.
You know, while preparing for the video, we heard on the national news that our supply chain could be in jeopardy. We've got some border crossing issues, and there could be disruptions, major disruptions in the supply chain. So this challenge, while we were thinking of it more of an exercise, I think may turn out to be possibly, a real life situation where if the supply chains do get interrupted, this is going to be a good test for us.
As Glenn said earlier, we'll be sharing with you 3 things that will help you start your food storage.
Now, these things work as a triad. They work in tandem with one another. And without the other 2 things, the one thing is not going to work. And number 1 is space. You've got to have space for your storage.
So let's talk about storage for a moment. Before you start buying your extra food for your cache, you need to set up somewhere to store it. Our previous homestead was over 2,000 square feet. And when we decided to move here, we thought, well, we're going to minimalize, we're going to really downsize everything. And when we first moved onto the property, we lived in our cabin, 200 square feet, through the whole winter for 4 months.
So we purposely had a tiny footprint, and just to keep everything to its bare minimum and have lessen our impact on the environment and on our surroundings, and see what we could make do with.
Yeah, and living in that tiny cabin and trying to find places to put all of our stuff, like there was no place to put it. It was a real eye-opener.
You mean living in this tiny cabin here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, now that we're at our new homestead, it's still small, so space still was a challenge for us, and we decided it was time to get going with our food cache again. We had to really work out ways to find space to store the goods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in hindsight, it would have been nice to have like an 8x8, 8x10 area specifically, to designate for storage.
That's right. Since we didn't have that, we decided to take someone's suggestion to package up the food in according to meal plans. So we decided to use some 5-gallon buckets and tote bins to put all the food in, and we organized it according to what we thought would be monthly usage.
As it turned out, it didn't work out very well for us. We actually kind of felt that it was impractical. We were kind of spur of the moment, and we didn't always want what was on the meal plan and the stuff that was in the bucket. And at the end of the month, there was always a lot of stuff that was left over and other things that we ran out of and whatnot.
Yeah, and then it became time-consuming and a little bit frustrating trying to find the food that we did need and to keep track of everything of what we had. So we changed. We reorganized everything into cupboards according to food type, like the tomatoes together, the fruits together, the dry goods, the oats, the beans, and all that. We put them all together so we would have a better idea of what we did have in our cache.
So when she wants something for a meal, she could just go shopping for it from the shelves.
Shelf shopping. And what we did with the dry goods, like our oats and beans and rice, is we divided them up into smaller portions and put them into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. Have you ever been in a pinch for storage space and trying to figure out creative ways to store your stuff? If you have, leave a comment and tell us what you did. First thing to do is to free up space for your long-term food storage. Decide where you're going to put it and how much space you have to store the food.
And maybe you want to get creative with that. I mean, for us, we had such a small amount of space, all of our stuff in the cabin, and you know, for the whole winter, the way it was, that was all of our stuff. No room to put, you know, anything. So the organization really was key. I would just say it wasn't even organized mayhem. It was just mayhem. So
Yeah. You know, one advantage of being in the cabin through the winter was that we had natural cold storage. When setting up your storage area, keep in mind the humidity and temperature requirements of the food that you'll be storing. So that they last longer, you may need to look into getting something that'll help you control both the humidity and the temperature in that area.
well, that brings us to point 2. Make a list and fill that list out with your supplies.
And what we recommend is you think of everything that you'll need and write everything down and roughly how much you think you would need, say, per month, so you get an idea of how much you have to buy.
All of your consumables, all your medical supplies, first aid, bathroom supplies, toiletries, all that kind of thing.
And your pets. Remember your pets. Get your pet supplies.
Right.
And of course, once you get your list going, one thing you want to do is start acquiring the goods.
Don't buy everything all at once. Leave some on the shelf for others.
And as you go shopping, think of it as pick up a few things. If you're picking up something, pick up 1 or 2 extra of that item, and then slowly build your cash up as you can and as you can afford it.
A few things at a time.
And while making your list and doing your shopping, keep in mind things that may go rancid, like nuts and seeds, because those have a shorter shelf life.
Number 1 was storage space. Number 2, make the list and fill the list out with your supplies. And point number 3, management. You've got to manage the goods that you have and manage that space. Otherwise, you could be in for challenges without having proper management of what you have to draw from.
Now, rotate the stock. Make sure that you keep the freshest stuff at the back and the older supplies at the front so that you keep everything fresh as you go.
Watch those expiry dates.
You just need to figure out what's best way for you. There's lots of ways to store the food and make your list and manage it. Just figure out what works best for you.
It really is a learning experience. A few videos back, we'd said that we had set out a target of 6 weeks as a duration and a test to see how we would fare, not going outside of our gate, not going to the grocery store or the gas station, that kind of thing.
Yeah, basically cutting ourselves off from the supply chain and seeing how we could survive with what we have here at the homestead.
Now, having said that, mainly it's the perishables that,
Yeah.
you know, becomes the challenge because, you know, we thought 6 weeks, maybe our perishables would last that long. And I like, you know, cream and coffee, that kind of thing. And we like fresh vegetables and fruits and whatnot.
Yeah,
so.
like everyone else. And you know, they've actually still lasted. We're just running out of most of our fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, we still have potatoes and garlic and herbs and herbal teas from the garden. We still have those, but all of our store-bought are pretty well used up.
How's the coffee cream going?
We have 1.5 liters left.
Okay.
What are you going to do when the cream runs out?
That's when the real challenge begins. We're going to see how things go over the next several weeks. Still haven't gone to the store, haven't left our property, and we're going to continue on with our voluntary lockdown challenge. And it's sort of an SHTF simulation kind of a thing, like a fire drill, as we said. But we'll see how we do with that. Remember the 3 points. You got to have the space, and then make that list out and fill that list out with the supplies as you can get those supplies and
manage your storage.
So we'll see how we do as our perishables and stores start to dwindle. I mean, we've got lots of long-term storage stuff, dry goods and all that kind of a thing. So there's no problem that way, but when that coffee cream runs out, it's a whole different story, perhaps. We'll see you. We'll keep you updated. We'll see you on the next one. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video.
And subscribe so that you get notification of our next updates.
That's all for this one. See you next time. Over and out.
Take care.